Hey everybody. So I wanted to welcome everybody to the stream today. So we are basically going to be going over a bunch of news items that I saw this week. None of them were really enough to kind of create its own video, and they came across a little bit sporadic, so I didn't see enough to actually put a whole video together. And then in truth, the news type videos aren't exactly a whole bunch of fun to put together. So I thought I'd kind of bring them all into this particular live here and just kind of talk about them. There are some good things here, and then there is an idea I have for the lives coming up, and I'll introduce it at the end. And I think it might actually be a lot of fun. At least for me, it's going to be a lot of fun, I think. But all that being said, it really has been a pretty eventful week for news. There was, with all the remaster stuff coming out, all the little tidbits we're getting from all the various things, I thought I'd cover just a few things that I saw that were super interesting, but once again, not enough to make a full video about. So let's go ahead and go into that. Now, one of the first things I'd like to kind of talk about here is, once again, I always say don't sleep on the Piezo blog because they kind of have a lot of good information. So they do have the top performers from Pathfinder Infinite, Starfinder Infinite. And actually, one of the news items that I want to be talking about a little bit is going to be about basically there's some Starfinder news that I wasn't aware of that kind of came up that I think is pretty cool. Anyways, Pathfinder Infinite, the top performers, Classy Dragons, Kitsune of Galerian, which I kind of want to take a look at simply because this guy over here, Sly of the Northern Reaches, he is a Kitsune. So I might kind of want to look at that. Smoke and Sail, Naval Warfare, Face 3 Ward, and Queer Finder. Now I have heard very good things about Queer Finder. I know there's a second edition out. I think this might be that is for the second edition. So that might be interesting to look at too. That was part of a huge, actually, I believe the Kitsune of Galerian was part of a huge group. I need to look to see whether I bought that one. I thought I did. Anyways, all that being said, I do think it's important to, once again, I know not everybody is super into these third-party things. I am. And I think it's really important to support these third-party creators. There are so many things that they bring to a particular tabletop role-playing game table. And if you are playing Abomination Vaults and a table next to you is playing Abomination Vaults, well, what differentiates them is not only the players, not only the GM, and not only the choices, but you can add things in order to make yours unique. So I fully suggest you go to the Piezo blog and take a look at these particular entries and see what they have. Once again, Classy Dragons, Face Reward, Aurori, Kitsune of Galerian, Queerfinder Issue 2, Absalom Winter Traditions, and Smoke and Sail, a Pathfinder 2e Naval Warfare sourcebook, which sounds pretty cool, actually. And then top performers on Starfinder Infinite are Barlow, Griffin Crit's Guide to Xenofactors Engineering, which is, let's take a look at that one. Is your Starfinder character an enterprising dreamer, dually fascinated by psychology and science, or like the slacker students at the antiquated and underfunded Akaton University of Technology and Technomancy, is your character utterly clueless about life's direction? Then Barlow Griffin Crits, an overly enthusiastic career expert, thinks the path of Xenofactors engineering would be a perfect fit. When Starfinder does come out to second edition, that's one of the ones that I'm going to be looking at. So I don't know anything about it though right now. Deep Space Adventures, Grand Promenade Summer Catalog, 323 AG. Freight Finder, The Radiating Abyss, a gruesome horror adventure designed for 4 5th-level Starfinder characters. Into the Void, a Starfinder adventure, and Starfinder Planar Powers. It is something, once again, just take a look if any of these things sound like they're interesting to you. Generally speaking, Pathfinder Infinite is pretty inexpensive for what you get in most cases. I've done reviews on some of them. Matter of fact, I do believe that almost all of them. Oh, thanks, Irvin's Past. I appreciate you for mentioning that. I am really, that one seems super interesting simply because I'm a sucker for a good subsystem. And if it's a good subsystem, I'm kind of all in. Then one of the other ones I wanted to, so once again, this is all the Infinite top performers from Pathfinder and Starfinder Infinite. Take a look. I will always continually push third-party modules. And oh, by the way, the one that we had pushed out a little bit for the Kickstarter, that actually was funded. So I'm super thrilled for that. I'm a backer for one of the hardbound, so I'm super happy for that one. Next little story I want to talk about. This was a big one-ish. They did have a player core. This didn't have quite as much information in it to kind of actually do a full video about, so I didn't actually go through it all, but the GM Core preview, Tell Your Story, this is basically tells us and tells you about customization support of the Foundation. It basically tells you what the chapters of the new GM Core are going to be about, the introduction, basics of what it means to be a GM, and guidance from authors on how to use this book, how to choose your tools, all those kind of things. Running the game as a game master, you run each session of Pathfinder, providing the link. So this is the tool, or this is the chapter that gives you the tools in order to not only create the environment, but to prepare adventures, create characters, plan and run sessions, all of those kind of things. Then building games, everything you need to build your own adventure, which is something to keep in mind here for after we're done covering the news items. Age of Lost Omens, which is kind of the Lost Omens chapter. Remember, for the player core, most of the Lost Omens lore is going to be out of there except for a very brief section, so a lot of that's going to move into the GM core. Subsystems, which, once again, I'm a sucker for a good subsystem. And then Treasure Trove, which is basically going to be all your items and all of your interesting equipment, things along those lines. So that is another thing. Once again, I didn't have enough to actually do a full article about, but you can go ahead and kind of bring these things up and actually look. When they have a picture, you can bring them up and kind of look at what the items are going to be. This is coming out November 15th, and I am so excited for this to happen. Then here is one of the last things we're going to be talking about, the Piezo blog, before I move on to other things. This is probably the thing I am the most excited for, coming October 18th. Rusthenge is coming out. Rusthenge, if you remember from PiezoCon and some of the other live things that they kind of talked about, Rusthenge is the single adventure for first level adventurers that, in my mind, is largely the remaster beginner box. So kind of going over, once again, good art. It's a deluxe standalone adventure for first level adventures designed by Vanessa Hoskins. And we've seen her a lot on all the cons and a lot of the lives that they do. Adventure was specifically created to be an introduction to Pathfinder and the Age of Lost Omens, perfect for new players. So this is the new beginner's box. I'm super excited for this. It is, if you are in a Pathfinder Adventure subscription, you'll go ahead and get that automatically. And if you do it, you generally get the PDF as soon as it ships, so you might actually get a little bit early. But I am very excited for this one. Everything I've heard about it sounds like it's going to be a lot of fun, like it's going to be, well, I loved the beginner box. I absolutely love the beginner box. I thought it was a really one of the best introductions that I could think of to a TTRPG. And I am just really pumped for it. The artwork looks good. The fact that you're returning to a place that you've been before. Super excited for that. Now, these are all on the Piezo blog. The rest of these, I'll probably include a link in the chat, I do believe. But the next big thing to talk about here is Kingmaker is coming to Foundry. And I kind of think that that is a fantastic thing. Let me go ahead. Oh, Raven's Path. I loved the beginner's box. Loved it. I loved it. It was so cool. So this one, I think I have the audio figured out to where if I play this, it's going to play to you guys. This is a 3-minute video, Kingmaker release trailer. basically what they're doing, and I've never played Kingmaker, and one of the reasons why I've never played Kingmaker is because the systems in it, and I love subsystems. I've done whole videos on subsystems. I've done a video on a third-party subsystem. I just absolutely love subsystems. However, this might make it easier. So I'm going to go ahead and play this real quick. 3 minutes. I'll react to it as going through. I'm not really a reactor type person, but let's go ahead and blow it up here and then play it.
Pathfinder's most popular campaign ever, Kingmaker,
I don't know if this is coming across.
Starting today. In the epic Kingmaker adventure path, your players will explore and seek to rule the stolen lands like never before with a brand new Foundry exclusive map from the award-winning Damian Mamalidi. The stolen lands are rife with danger and rewards.
So
guide your players through the adventure easily with dozens of beautifully rendered journals in over 1,100 pages that are cross-linked, pinned to scenes for easy access, and loaded with inline checks and rolls so you can quickly resolve challenges. When you hand your players the charter for their burgeoning kingdom, you can also give them access to the brand new kingdom sheet that we've had custom built for Kingmaker. It makes it easy to track everything related to their kingdom, and we've included it for free in the Pathfinder 2nd Edition game system, so you can use it whether you own Kingmaker or not. To help you track changes to the stolen lands, as the game master, a quick tap on the sidebar gives you details about the entire region on a hex-by-hex basis, and a double click allows you to update. That looks so cool for hexploration. You can easily change a hex's details, like whether it's cleared of monsters, claimed for your party's kingdom, what resources are available in it, camp types, and track features that your players build on it. All of that data will then appear when you hover over the hex, and if you've claimed it, it will be marked on the map.
I know.
The real
right now, there's a caveat to this,
exploring.
and I'll explain it here in a second.
We've built a custom Fog of War reveal system that shows you only the relevant hexes, and it's quick to get from the Hexploration map to the relevant quest. The complete Foundry VCT module includes 68 battle maps that have been beautifully remade for virtual tabletop use, with 9 region and city maps that have been digitally remastered to look better on your screen. Cool. Scenes are completely prepared for you with pre-placed walls, tokens, and hazards, as well as pinned notes, tiles, audio sources, and macros for automated cool events. It also includes portrait and token art for more than 400 characters, nearly 10 hours of music including never before heard audio, a custom kingdom sheet for managing your player's new land, and an awesome hexploration tool. There's so much content in Kingmaker that it's going to take us a bit more time to finish the entire adventure path up to our level of quality. But, rather than make you wait until it's 110% finished, we wanted to give you access to the first 6 chapters and appendices of content so you can start playing right now.
Which will last you until the last 6
we'll release free updates that cover the remainder of the content, and will all be out before the end of the year. The Kingmaker Adventure Path presents a full-length campaign that chronicles the rise of a new nation, a kingdom built and ruled by your player characters. Will you rule with justice and mercy, or will you become the very monsters you fought to oppose? In the Kingmaker Adventure Path, the destiny of the world's newest nation is yours to decide. We can't wait to see what adventures you'll have in the Stolen Lands.
Okay, so that looks fantastic, and I've never felt more stupid than standing here holding my editing headphones by the microphone, but it worked. So it looks fantastic. Kingmaker is the one game that it feels like I'd like it, but I can't imagine actually trying to play it on paper, in person, and keeping track of every little thing of it, because it's a mix between a tabletop role-playing game and Civ, and this almost makes it look fun. Now, here is the, let's see if I can't bring up, I'm going to bring up the product page for it. And there's a reason why I'm doing that, because there's a caveat. So the caveat is, you're going to see it in a second, is it's $100. It's going to be $120 after, if you don't buy it in this early release. I am not going to recommend this or not recommend this, because I don't know. I've never played it. I am really considering getting it, but that's a lot of outlay. The one thing I will say is, if you look at some of the other Pathfinder adventures, None of them are cheap necessarily. Like if you were to do the Sky King's Tomb, we'll just bring that up. Sky King's Tomb, each one of these books is $27. So you're basically paying $81 for all 3 books. So by that math, $100 doesn't seem that bad, considering that you're also getting 400 tokens. Once again, the Bestiary, I don't think has 400 when you buy that. And that was 45 or something like that. You get 12 books in adventure. The more I'm thinking about it, the more I'm thinking that I probably need to make sure I have a party that wants to play it before I buy it. And I kind of want to play it myself before I buy it. It really is. It is not that much more than getting the books. But the books, when you spend $25 for a book, and that book lasts you a month, 2 months, 3 months, depending on how often you play and how long your sessions are, it almost doesn't feel so bad as buying all of these at once. And that's kind of what you're doing, is you're spending $100 in order to get everything at one time. Let me grab a sip of water. So I don't know how long the remaining content will release for the end of 2023. Daniel, I 100% get what you're saying. That's the reason why I never played Kingmaker, or never wanted to play Kingmaker before, because there's just so much work to it. I wonder if I can find, like, when this comes. When does this release? Is it released now? Let me see. It's released now. I need to look online and see if I can't. Oh man, I'm already playing 3 games. I would just like to see it before I buy it. I'll have to look to see if there's any reviews coming out from anyone else. But yeah, I'd like to play it. I'd love to play it. If Kingmaker is something you always want to play, it's just news. I'm not going to say get it or don't get it. I am going to wait. I'll say that until I know a little bit more. But I just thought that was so cool. And the video, which of course, because it's a marketing video, the video makes it look so freaking cool. We'll see. We'll see how that goes. The last 2 things. This is Starfinder. Now, we all know Starfinder's coming out 2024 is the playtest, the actual playtest, not what we're seeing so far, which is the field test. And the book isn't supposed to come out till 2025. Did I miss something? So Starfinder Enhanced, an upcoming rules revision. Is it without the PDF? I'm going to go back for a second. Thank you for bringing that up. Features. I don't know. Yeah, it doesn't have the PDF. It has the journal entries. So it kind of has the PDF, but you don't have the physical PDF to read stuff. I don't know. I don't know about that one. Starfinder Enhanced. So apparently, and I feel dumb because I follow all this stuff pretty religiously, Starfinder Enhanced is coming out next month, which isn't Starfinder 2nd Edition. It is a 192-page Starfinder Enhanced rulebook that isn't quite a full 2nd edition of Starfinder, but rather a collection of various additional rules and materials that aim to tweak some existing parts of the game, blah, blah, blah. I didn't even know this was coming out. This particular article is talking about some new races. And they basically say, you'll play as an Ewok-like rodent, and they're called the Endiphians, which Endor, I don't know whether that's supposed to be that way, who can rearrange their rubbery skin to change their appearance, gaining bonuses to disguise checks, and even having the option to try and mimic other creatures. Oh, okay. Thanks for pointing that out, Ravenspath. That makes me feel a little bit better. At the moment, I feel like I'm trying to talk myself into buying it, and I'm having a hard time. I'm at like 20% right now. I'll include a link to this article too and the next one. The next two are about this Starfinder Enhanced. So, Frog Like Gripply, which I do remember hearing about those before. I just didn't know anything was coming out next month for Starfinder. So, more mysterious are the Samsarin, a species born from reincarnated souls that can appear under any of the galaxy's many cultures. Immortal beings can draw from their past lives for a bonus and additional skills, as well as revisiting death effects through a unique cyclic relationship to life and death. For those furry, so they have the Kitsune, which I don't know why that is new to Starfinder Enhanced. Anyways, there are a bunch of new races coming to Starfinder apparently. And they do have a bunch of images that you can look at in order to see some of the things that are in Starfinder Enhanced. I just was 100% taken aback by the fact that there's a new book coming out. I just didn't know. Next article, I'll include a link to this one too. And this is from Polygon. And this one talks more about the optional Starship combat rules that can make the game faster. I don't know anything about it, but I want to know about it. How do I say this? So with Starfinder 2nd Edition coming out, I am very interested in learning the rules of Starfinder because I can see a lot of fun doing crossovers for it. But I don't want to learn this edition of Starfinder because it's so different. And I did get the books from the Humble Bundle, so I do actually already have those. But supposedly if you do space combat in Starfinder, they have new rules for Starship combat and things along those lines. It seems pretty cool. Once again, more news to bring up. These are all just little things that I couldn't really find a reason to do a news article on, but I thought was just kind of important to bring up because they're interesting. And I don't know. Well, this is supposed to come out till 2025, so the beginner box $40. That's normal. That's not that big of a deal. But if you're interested in Starfinder, it is something to take a look at. I do believe I'm waiting until the end of... Well, I'm at least going to wait until the playtest because I really want to start learning it for those type of things. And apparently my ad is Myrtle Beach, South Carolina for some reason. So that is all I really have for news. Now, there are some other things I kind of want to talk about. So I've been doing a lot of things lately, especially with mapping and kind of going over some of the things for creating new ancestries and all this other kind of stuff. In the back of my mind, I have kind of been, let's move to a different camera because we're not talking about this anymore. So one of the things I've been thinking about doing and doing it with the live here. And if I do that for anybody who has been saying anything, it probably means I got to get the Discord up, which I kind of already do have it. I'm worried about the moderation of it because I hope that doesn't take a lot of time. But all that aside, so I am thinking about working these lives and maybe make it a series, as in a series of 2, 3, 4, 10, because it's actually going to take a long time. It's not going to be 2, 3, 4. I am thinking about doing a world building exercise and during these live sessions actually making an adventure. So doing something, we've already done the mapping. Now I've been kind of thinking about, let's go bring this up here. We'll go back to this one. I have been trying to find so this is actually a really good website. I'm going to do this one too. I like this website. This is a interactive map of Galerian. Put this in the chat. And what this does, it allows you to kind of look at it's not super detailed, but it gives you an idea about where you might want to go. So one of the things I'm thinking about doing is maybe during these lives is we can work on, yes, it is very good for that. Work on deciding on a place to go, and then like I don't want to do an adventure at a place that's already been done, if that makes sense, or that has been done to death. Like I don't want to do an adventure in Absalom or Otari or really the island whatsoever, but maybe try and find a little adventure and maybe create a 2-3 session adventure. But we start out with picking a location, then we go maps, then we go what the main storyline is going to be, what the end goal is, and work back, or however. And go to the point of making the maps, making the characters, exactly. And then work on the Foundry programming so that the person can just bring it in, just like we've seen on some of these third-party modules, or when you download an actual Piezo adventure path or adventure, or as we've seen with the new scenarios for Pathfinder Society, figure out that programming. But then it isn't, and then we just release it for free. Everybody can use it. It's not, I don't want to sell it. I don't want to do anything like that. I am not particularly in this to make money. But I think it would be super interesting to use it as like a how-to for people on how to create pick a location, create a map, create NPCs, work on a storyline, break your storyline into conflicts, break the conflicts into combats, break the combats into encounters. By encounters, I mean like encounter groups or those kind of things. Work on the narrative of the story. Then after we're done with the narrative of the story and we have the maps done and we have our NPCs in there as well as the bad guys, and then you would take that and how you would package it into a PDF, whatever software is available for that. And most of this stuff is free, or in the case of things like Dungeon Draft and Wonder Draft and some of those things, they're one-time charges that I already have purchased for my own use. But there are free things out there that we can kind of take a look at. But use it as a way to teach people how to create their own adventures, especially when we get into the Foundry programming. One of the reasons why I'm doing this is because I'd like to learn it. And one of the best ways I know to learn it is, how to put it, give myself a deadline. And the deadline would be, well, I need to figure out how to do this before next Thursday because we're going to be doing this live. So I need to figure it out. And I think it might be a lot of fun. That is kind of my thought on how we're actually going to kind of go forward. If I do that kind of stuff, once again, you guys can't see this. I wish I could figure out a way to make you guys see this. But because if I bring that up there, it's going to go all weird. So what I would do this week is I would there are a bunch of resources out there in order to create adventures, world building, those kind of things, collect those things, read them, kind of do a bunch of stuff. I would also, what you're looking at right now, like this little background here, I would change that because why not? We're doing something different. And then we could do things like in creating the NPCs, Sly could be one of the NPCs. We could have some of the adventuring parties in the NPCs. You guys could name NPCs or create NPCs or have some of your favorite characters be NPCs in this adventure. And then once we get the Foundry program, we have the PDF done, we have all the maps done, give it away. Then we work on the Foundry programming. Once we get the Foundry programming done and the tokens and the maps and the journal entries, give it away. Tizzy, he already thought of that. Tizzy would be an NPC. And the good news about doing this in this particular format, especially starting as we are right now, where we just be picking a location and then working on maps and stuff like that, is Remaster comes out November 15th, and we can go ahead and get started on some basic stuff before Remaster, and then the new adventure would be a remastered adventure. And we could do a thing, and the reason why the Discord even came up and all other kind of stuff is then we could play test it. And I think that would be a lot of fun. that is kind of where I'm thinking about taking these lives for the next, could be till the end of the year in truth. But make it a little bit of an educational type format in order to, I don't know. It just seems like a lot of fun. It seems like it would be great to interact with you guys who kind of watch this channel. It'd be great to interact with, I mean, there are some of the people that I have done some of the third-party reviews on. It'd be interesting to see if I could get them to come on. Some of them probably would. I try to keep in contact, like anybody who I've done reviews with, I try to keep in contact with them for any future reviews. So Alan Tucker, who we just did, Lighter Shark Teeth Cove, as well as the latest Kickstarter, you know, he's someone that I've kept in contact with. And every single one of the people that I've done, I have tried, at least on social networks and stuff like that, try to keep in contact with them. So maybe we can get them to take a look at some of our ideas or those kind of things. I don't know. I don't know whether that's even possible. I shouldn't probably have said that live on the air and promised that, because I don't know whether that'll work or not. Or I'd have to figure out how to do an interview type situation, which can't be too hard. That's where I'm thinking about taking the channel live streams over the next, like I said, till the end of the year. And what I will probably do is, after this particular live, I might go on the community side and I might put a poll up and word it, not leadingly at all, but I'm trying to come up with a good question and a poll and see if that is something anybody would be interested in doing. It sounds like a lot of fun to me, and it would teach me a lot, and I think it would teach viewers a lot, and I think it would teach anybody who plays what goes into putting, because I don't even know. I don't want to make it sound like I'm some kind of expert or I know anything. Let me get out of this again, because we're not using that anymore. But I don't want to make it sound like I know what goes into creating an adventure, because I don't. I've never done it. I've done Adventure Pass. It'd be interesting to work on this homebrew and kind of create our own little world, create our own little, and we'd probably keep it within Galerian, but an unexplored or an undone part of Galerian. So I want to do a little bit of lore checks on the map. Just when I start looking at the map, I take it off that camera. So go through lore checks and make sure, like Cheliax, a lot of stuff's been done in Cheliax. Some stuff's been done in Geb. Some stuff has been, once again, Absalon's been done to death. So maybe try and find a fairly unexplored location, even over in Tangia, but I don't have that book yet. That is my thought. So I will probably wind up putting out, like I said, I'm sitting there looking, reading stuff. There's an island here I don't recognize. Or some of these ports down here. There are, back to the main video, I need to stop playing with it. So that is what I'm thinking. And exactly Rivers Path. That's kind of the point of it. And that's, I mean, the reason why I even started this channel was to teach people rules. I wanted it to be a beginner's rules channel from a beginner's perspective. And this is that and beyond. This teaches you how to be a better player, be a better GM, be a better designer. And heck, maybe at the end of it, someone will get inspired to create their own adventure path, put it on Pathfinder Infinite, and make some money off it. It's one of the things I do want to say. You have to be incredibly creative to make these things. That is probably my weak point, is the creativity part of it. So I think it'd be great to get a bunch of people together. Heck, we might even, I was actually already thinking about this kind of before this little live stream, is thinking about, I wonder how hard it would be to get a drawing pad. So, you know, we have Sly of the Northern Reaches down here in the lower right-hand corner. How hard it would be to learn how to draw. I can do a little bit, but not to that level. And by the way, though the rest of our little adventuring group are going to be drawn as well, I'm just trying to decide on a pose but I've already talked to the illustrator and Dalim, and I'm going to get all of them kind of drawn up as well. But that is where we are. Now, aside from that, this actually went by quicker than I thought it would. That's all I really had prepared for this week. Let me think. We do have something kind of fun coming out tomorrow. It's another role-playing video. Those are the ones I like to do, but never get a whole... They get all right views. They do fine. But they aren't my big viewers. But I have a kind of fun one, I think, coming out tomorrow. And then an opinion one coming out probably Saturday. And then some more stuff coming out Sunday. Man, I feel like I'm very short today. Vidrian or Quadira? Does it not take you there? Cador I recognize. Vidrian I do not. There's Quadira. That's where one of the, I think the Light of Shark Teeth Cove took place there. Where is, I don't know why that didn't show up in search. Might be using too much. Southern edge of Mwangi. Well, I could sit here and have you guys watch me look on a map forever, and I don't even have it shown up. I have to get better at the screen switching thing. So this is what I was looking at. Kadir is right here. Yes. Now we're talking about Vidrian. Oh, south edge of, so down here somewhere. Oh, it's loading, that's what. Okay, I'm not going to mess with that right now. But that, yeah, that could be very interesting. And we could do, like I said, I wanted to kind of do a lore check and then come up with some options. And then maybe we can kind of talk about it and work on doing it. That's kind of where I am. Let me think. This might be a short one today. I can't think of any, I can't think of anything else to really talk about. Well, okay. If that being the case, otherwise you're going to stand here staring at me, shaking my head, thinking of stuff to think about. I guess I'm going to cut it short today. I kind of feel bad about doing that, but I don't have anything else prepared. And I can't think of anything else specifically going on at this moment in time to talk about. So I guess with that, I mean, it's been 40-ish minutes, so it's not horrible, but we normally go well over an hour. I guess I'm going to call it. So I do really appreciate everybody for showing up. I will try to make sure that I have some extra stuff kind of sitting in the bag to talk about. The only other thing I can talk about really quick is, so I haven't done this yet. This is the other card game that I was going to do a review on, and I was going to play it Saturday. This is a 2-person game that's going to be coming out sometime next week. The reason why it didn't come out this week is because the person I was going to play with, we had to cancel on Saturday, so we didn't do it. So although I opened it, I haven't really got anything on it. But yeah, Raven's Path and everybody else who's watching, and Daniel, and I appreciate you guys for being on. What I will wind up doing is after this is done, I'm going to put together a community post, kind of get a feel for it. I don't expect a lot of people to say no, but I think it'd be good to have a path forward and kind of a plan on where we're going. And I'll kind of put a bunch in the community path as I learn more and kind of go into a world building, adventure building path for our lives. And hopefully I won't have one where I'm running short on time again. So all that being said, I guess what I will do is I am going to cut this one a little bit short. I do appreciate everybody for coming up. I do appreciate everybody for watching. So I was canceling it super quick. The last thing I want to talk about. So we are at 196 videos right now. By next week, we'll be over 200, 200th video. This is something I'm going to do. And what I will do is I'll say it at various times throughout the live, because I realize not everybody can watch the whole thing. Not everybody stays for the whole thing, and all that's fine, but I'm going to say it multiple times to it. So this is just to thank everybody here. Here's what I'm going to do. Next week, I am doing a $20 gift certificate to Piezo, a $20 gift certificate to Pathfinder Infinite. Those are the things that I'm going to be giving to the viewers next week. What I'll do is at the beginning of the live stream, I'll kind of say, put something in chat if you want to be in the drawing. And then I actually have another camera, and I got a little dice tray here, and I got another camera so we can go down and we will actually roll and see who gets the $20 gift certificate to Piezo and the $20 gift certificate to Pathfinder Infinite. So that is coming next week as kind of like the 200 episode or 200 video celebration. So now with that all being said, that is the actual end. Yeah, I guess it is. So, and I feel bad about it, but I appreciate everybody for showing up. We'll go ahead and we'll start that next week. Well, I'll put the community post on, and provided no one has any huge issues with it, we're going to go ahead and start world building next week. So next Thursday, 6:30, we're going to start working on building a world. And once again, I appreciate everybody coming up. I look forward to 200th video, and I look forward to the live next week. And I hope everybody has a great rest of your day or evening or morning. I guess it depends on where you are. And happy adventuring, and thanks for showing up. Thanks, everybody.